Dad, I keep hearing everyone at school and even you and mom talking about the year of the family in 2026. What does that actually mean for my school schedule? Like, why are things suddenly changing so much?
That's a great question, Nila. The Year of the Family is a major government initiative. It's designed to bring families closer together, mainly by aligning our free time and holidays. The most immediate change you're already seeing, and that's definitely impacting your routine, is the unified school calendar and, of course, the permanent shift to shorter Fridays. It's all about ensuring we can eat lunch together after prayers.
Speaking of Fridays, why exactly do I have to finish school at 11:30 a.m. now? I mean, I'm not complaining about the early finish, but I'm curious about the why behind it all.
Good point. The government standardized the Friday prayer time to 12:45 p.m. across the entire UAE. This was done to avoid confusion and ensure unity, so everyone is on the same page. Because of this earlier prayer time, schools must dismiss you by 11:30 a.m. That gives you a 75-minute buffer to get home, clean up, and get ready for prayers without feeling rushed. It's all about respecting the rhythm of the week.
Wow, 75 minutes. That's actually pretty specific. Does this 11:30 a.m. finish apply to every single school in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, like even my friend's British curriculum school or the American ones?
Yes, absolutely. The Knowledge and Human Development Authority, which is the KHDA in Dubai, and the regulators in Abu Dhabi have made it mandatory for all private and public schools. It doesn't matter which curriculum you follow, everyone has to stop instruction by that time to respect the religious rhythm of the week. It's a universal change.
Okay, that makes sense. But then I heard a rumor that school is going to start at 9 a.m. every day next year. Is that actually happening? Because honestly, sleeping in until 8:30 a.m. sounds amazing.
Ah, the 9 a.m. start. That is a common misunderstanding, Nila. There's no federal law forcing every school to start at 9 a.m. yet. However, some private schools, like Bloom World Academy, have successfully adopted this model. And naturally, many parents are now asking why other schools haven't followed suit. So while it's not mandated, it's definitely a hot topic.
If it's not a rule yet, why are so many people convinced that a 9 a.m. start is coming? It feels like everyone is talking about it as if it's already decided.
That's where the confusion has really arisen. Ramadan is starting in mid-February 2026, and during that holy month, schools almost always shift to a 9 a.m. start time temporarily. People are conflating the temporary Ramadan schedule with the permanent Friday changes, creating a belief that a late start is the new normal. It's easy to mix those two up, especially when there's so much buzz.
I see. So it's like a temporary thing during Ramadan that people think is permanent. But why would the government or schools even consider letting us sleep in until 8:30 a.m. or 9 a.m. permanently? Besides, it being awesome for us students.
Well, it's not just about being awesome. There's actual scientific research, a field called chronobiology, that shows teenagers have a biological clock that shifts forward. This makes it physically difficult for you to learn effectively at 7:30 a.m. Aligning school hours with your biological sleep needs would likely improve your mental health, your grades, and your overall happiness. It's a win-win for student well-being.
That's really interesting. I always feel so tired in my first few classes. But wouldn't starting school later just make the morning traffic even worse for everyone? Like imagine everyone trying to get to school at the same time I'm trying to get there.
You'd think so, right? But actually, the Roads and Transport Authority, the RTA, believes that staggering start times could fix the gridlock. Their idea is to separate school traffic from office traffic. If you go to school at 9 a.m., you aren't on the road at the same time as the people trying to get to work for an 8 a.m. shift. It's a clever way to decongest the roads, theoretically.
That's a perspective I hadn't considered. But if I start school at 9 a.m., how are you supposed to get to your office on time? Most parents need to be at work by 8 a.m. or 8:30 a.m., right?
And that, Nila, is the biggest logistical nightmare for working parents. You're absolutely right. Most of us still have to be at our desks by 8 a.m. or 8:30 a.m. To make a late start work for families, schools would need to offer wraparound care or early drop-off clubs. That way, we can leave you there safely before heading to work. Otherwise, it creates a massive childcare gap.
So it's not as simple as just starting later. Does this mean I will have to stay in school later in the afternoon to make up for the lost time? Because if I get to sleep in, but then get home super late, it's not really a gain, is it?
Exactly. If you start later and also have a short Friday, schools will likely push the Monday to Thursday finish time to 3:30 p.m. or even 4 p.m. This ensures you still meet the international requirements for instructional hours. But you're right, it does leave you with less time in the evenings for homework, sports, or just relaxing with your friends.
It's all a trade off, I guess. Speaking of different schedules, is it true that schools in Sharjah have a completely different weekend than we do in Dubai?
Yes, that's absolutely true. Sharjah operates on a 4-day work week from Monday to Thursday. This means students there get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. It creates a strange situation where you might be in school on Friday morning while your cousins in Sharjah are already starting their weekend. It's a unique regional difference within the UAE.
That's wild. How does that affect families who live in Sharjah but go to school or work in Dubai? That must be really complicated.
It creates significant friction, to be honest. A parent might be off work in Sharjah on Friday, but has to drive into Dubai traffic to drop a child at school. Conversely, a parent working in Dubai has to find childcare for a Sharjah-based student who is off school on Fridays. It's a real juggling act for those cross-emirate families, and it highlights why unified calendars are so important.
I can only imagine. And you and mom were discussing something called the gap hour problem regarding Fridays. What's that about?
Ah, the gap hour. That's a big one for us parents. The problem is that while you finish school at 11:30 a.m., many private sector employees don't finish work until much later in the afternoon. This leaves a gap of several hours where parents are stuck at work while their children are at home. Often this requires expensive nannies or after-school camps, which adds to the family's financial burden. It's something the government and companies are actively trying to address.
So it's not just about family time, but also about logistics and cost. Are there any options for me to stay home on Fridays instead of going in for just 3 hours? I mean, it barely feels worth the drive sometimes.
That's an excellent question, and one the KHDA has anticipated. They've actually allowed private schools in Dubai to offer online learning on Fridays for older students like you, if the parents agree. This hybrid model is a game changer because it saves travel time and definitely solves the logistics issue for families who can supervise you at home. It gives parents more flexibility, which is a huge relief for many.
Online learning on Fridays, that sounds pretty good, but if I stay home on Friday, won't I miss out on important lessons or even exams? Like what if my chemistry class is on a Friday?
That's a valid concern, but schools are adjusting their timetables to accommodate this. They're moving heavy academic subjects like math and science to the Monday-Thursday block. Friday mornings are increasingly being used for lighter subjects, assemblies, or well-being activities, so missing them in person is less disruptive to your core academics. It's a smart way to adapt without compromising education.
Okay, that's reassuring. But what about practical things like the school bus? Will the bus fees go up if the timings change to 9 a.m.? Because that's another cost for you guys, right?
You're spot on, there's a real risk of that. Bus companies currently use the same bus for two different shifts to save money, one for an early primary school start and another for a slightly later secondary school start. If everyone starts at 9 a.m., they can't double shift the buses, meaning they would need to buy more vehicles and unfortunately charge parents higher fees. It's a significant concern for families.
So more buses mean more money. Is the RTA doing anything to help with the school bus situation in 2026, or are we just stuck with potentially higher fees?
They are actually. The RTA is launching a bus pooling pilot program that uses smart technology to group students from different schools into shared transport. This aims to reduce the number of private cars on the road and could lower costs if it works effectively across geographic zones. It's an innovative approach to a complex problem, and hopefully it'll make a difference.
That sounds pretty cool. So back to the 9 a.m. start, can we expect it to become mandatory for everyone next year, or is it still up in the air?
It is unlikely to become a mandatory federal law overnight because the disruption to the economy would be too massive. Think about all the logistics we just discussed. However, we will likely see more private schools voluntarily adopting it as a premium feature to attract families who value sleep and well-being. It'll be a choice rather than a mandate for the foreseeable future, I think.
That makes sense. So how does the year of the family initiative affect our holidays and breaks? Are those changing too?
Yes, absolutely. And this is a big positive for us. The new unified calendar includes a longer 4-week winter break and ensures that all schools take holidays at the same time. This is fantastic because it allows us to plan family vacations without worrying that your brother in a different school system has a different week off. No more calendar juggling for our trips.
Oh, that is actually really good news. So we won't have to keep checking different school schedules for holidays. Do the teachers actually want these changes to the schedule, or is it just more work for them?
Many teachers actually support the changes because they also struggle with burnout and the high cost of living in the UAE. A later start would help them manage their own families and commutes, which is a huge benefit. However, a compressed work week with longer afternoons might make their daily workload more intense, so it's a bit of a mixed bag for them, honestly.
I guess that's fair. What happens if I'm late or absent on these new short Fridays? Do they count more or something since it's such a short day?
Yes, they do. The ministry has introduced stricter attendance rules where missing a Friday now counts as two absences instead of one. They want to prevent families from treating the short Friday as an optional day or an early start to a vacation. It's a core part of the school week, even if it's shorter.
Whoa, two absences for one day? That's serious. Why did they choose 45 p.m. for the prayer instead of keeping it variable like it used to be?
Fixing the time at 12:45 p.m. eliminates the confusion caused by the sun's position changing throughout the seasons. Before, you'd have to check the exact prayer time daily. Now, it provides a stable anchor point for the week, allowing schools and businesses to plan their schedules permanently without constantly checking the solar calendar. It brings consistency.
That makes total sense. But if every school is dismissing at 11:30 a.m., won't the traffic jams be worse at 11:30 a.m. than they were at 2 p.m. when we used to get out?
That's actually a major concern for traffic engineers. They worry that 11:30 a.m. will become a super peak because every single school is releasing students at the exact same minute. Unlike the afternoon drop-off, which was staggered over hours, this hard deadline could cause significant gridlock, especially in school-dense districts like Hessa Street. It's definitely something to watch.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare. So is the 4.5-day week going to change to a 4-day week like Sharjah eventually? Like get rid of Fridays completely?
There is a lot of speculation that the UAE might eventually align with Sharjah to offer a 3-day weekend nationwide. It's a big topic of discussion, and many people are pushing for it. However, for now, the federal government is committed to the 4.5-day model to balance economic productivity with social well-being. It's a delicate balance, and they're taking it one step at a time.
So it might happen, but not yet. What should I tell my friends who are super jealous of the kids at Bloomworld Academy because they get to start school later?
Tell them that while those kids get to sleep later, they also finish school much later in the day, so it is a trade-off. Every benefit usually comes with a compromise. Also, remind them that during Ramadan, everyone will get a taste of the late start life, so they can see if they actually like it. It might not be as universally appealing as it sounds when you factor in the later finish.
Good point. So Dad, did the Year of the Family initiative influence the specific choice of 11:30 a.m. for Friday dismissal, or was that just a coincidence?
Absolutely, it was central to it. The goal was to ensure families could gather for the traditional Friday lunch immediately after prayers. By releasing you at 11:30 a.m., the government is structurally engineering time for us to sit down and eat together as a family unit, which is a really powerful concept for fostering family bonds. It's a deliberate choice rooted in that initiative.
That's a nice thought, actually. Are universities and colleges also changing their timings because of all this?
Yes, higher education institutions are also aligning their schedules to accommodate the prayer times and the Year of the Family ethos. Many university students suffer from sleep deprivation too, so there's a push to start lectures later in the morning for them as well. The benefits of better sleep aren't just for school kids.
So if I start school later, will my sports practice be moved to the morning now? That would be really different.
It's very possible that sports academies will start utilizing the early morning hours, say between 7 a.m. and 8:30 a.m., for training if school starts later. This would flip the current model, where you often train when you're exhausted in the evening, to training when you're fresh and energized. It could be a real boost for student athletes.
Training when I'm fresh sounds amazing. What is the Flexible Friday corporate policy you mentioned that Mom's company is looking into?
Companies are being encouraged to let parents work remotely on Fridays or finish early to match the school timings. This flexibility is becoming a major factor for employees when they choose which company to work for in the UAE. It's about companies supporting the Year of the Family goals too, and making it easier for parents to be there for their kids after the early dismissal.
So, to summarize everything, the 9 a.m. start is mostly optional for schools right now, not something I should expect automatically.
Correct, it is a choice made by individual private schools, not a government command for everyone. You should expect your schedule to stay mostly the same Monday through Thursday, unless your specific school principal decides to innovate and adopt the later start. Always check your school's specific announcements for the most accurate info.
It feels like a lot of change, but also a lot of things that could be really good. Do you think this is the beginning of a totally different way of doing school in Dubai, or is it just a few tweaks?
I believe we are seeing the end of the factory model of education, Nila, where everyone does the same thing at the same time. The future is flexible, personalized schedules that prioritize your health and our family time over rigid tradition. It's about creating a system that truly supports the well-being of students and families, and I think that's a really positive direction for the UAE to be heading in. It's an exciting time, even with all the adjustments.